So as we discuss management and marketing courses, so we'll be discussing about the skill assessment requirements and the PR pathways. So myself, Kunal Verma, I'm a registered migration agent and my MARA is 18033861. I've got along with me Suman KC, who is also one of the registered migration agent with Aussizz, and his MARA number is 2014868. So this is some of the information for the contest. So you can share your session inside with us in comments and story, and the best comment will be there would be prizes which you can read through. So first winner would get 500 Australian dollars, second winner $300, and the third winner will get $250. So a very good opportunity for you guys to grab that good money, quick money. Right, so topics we'll be covering. So the popular management and marketing courses and the occupations on skill list. So, when you come to Australia on a study visa, the foremost, thing which you would plan to look at is obviously what are the career outcomes you would have for this study which you're doing. Also, you would also want to understand the permanent residency pathways without changing the course. So with that, you would have an option of understanding these management and marketing courses, which you would study across various colleges, universities in Australia. And if those courses could eventually lead towards, or it could obviously be one of the demanded occupations on the list. Then the skill assessment authorities and their requirements. So which authority you need to go to if you have studied a management or a marketing course here. What are the other prerequisites of those skill assessment authorities to give you a positive assessment? Uh, those all things which you need to obviously go through before you could become eligible to apply for your visa. The pathways available for these occupations through scaled migration, obviously one of the most opted options for permanent residency through the skill independent visa, state nomination or regional nomination. Or if things haven't worked out for you guys, or you have got a better choice of opting it through by means of a employer sponsored visas, then you have got option for TSS, which is 482. You've got option for employer nominated sponsor 186, and also the option for the regional sponsorship through employer, that's 494. And we'll be taking you through some Q&A, or if you have got any questions, we'll be answering that after that. Okay, so these are the popular management courses which are accessible or which you can access in Australia. Obviously, if you are studying any of these courses, then we'll be taking you through the further slides where we would discuss of which course can lead to skill assessment through which peer option or which occupation can it relate to. Now, with the management the courses which are popular among the management students. We've got our choices available through different streams. So somebody who is studying here on the vocational level, they're doing the diploma level of study, as well as those who are doing a bachelor's, and then the options of doing master courses. The relevancy of each level of study has its role to play, when we look at skill assessment. So now I'll firstly mention about which courses are accessible where, just giving you out a couple of colleges or universities where you can access these courses if you really intend to study them. So diploma and advanced diploma of leadership and management is one of the course that's very accessible, and that could be one of the options for you towards or obtaining a skill assessment with other prerequisites. That's accessible in Zen Institute. You've got an option of project management that's accessible. You can get that course through 𝐬𝐴, which is one of the colleges, and Danford. So we'll obviously, when I'm talking about the colleges, I'm not listing out all the colleges or universities across Australia, but few of the ones you can access in, either Melbourne or Sydney, and pretty much other states would have the choices of these courses as well. And you can possibly look at what are your options over in those states. But yes, majorly these courses being the popular ones, you will have these options available in mostly all the states in Australia. Then the diploma of practice management that accessible again through the Danford as well. You've got diploma of practice, bachelors of business management specialization. A lot of people come here to study this course, with the specialization of management. So majorly all the colleges, have or mostly colleges have this option available for you, and you can opt for this course. Bachelor of Health Science, that's being into a little specific of somebody who is coming from the health background itself or science background. They can look up for study this course, and the options are available with Swinburne and Victoria University. Bachelors of Health Information Management, again, it's more of a specific or a course which would give you access towards a specific occupation towards permanent residency, or if you are coming through some sort of mindset that you would want to put or make your career in a specific occupation, then this course is also accessible through LATROBE. You can have that course studied in LATROBE. Bachelors of Advertising and Media, as well as Bachelors of Communication. These courses are available with 𝐬𝐸, RMIT, and Deakin. Again, I'm not talking about any names which you might have not heard of, or with these other colleges which you only are aware of, and these universities have got these courses. Masters of Business Administration, Masters of Management, Business Management, again, Project Management. These sort of courses are available across mostly all universities and colleges, being the top-notch courses. You can always access these courses through a lot of colleges and universities. Now getting into Masters of Management, which is with supply chain, Victoria University has this option. Melbourne has this option. This is more of a specific course wherein you're picking up supply chain as the specialization, procurement as the specialization. Then you can obviously look at that study as an option. Uh, Master of Public Health, you have these again, as I said, that's more of health related course. So you need to look at if your intention is to study this course post you are a nursing graduate or a health specialized graduate, and you would want to have a qualification in Australia in public health, because it does open up doors for you for a lot of occupations in future, or pathways for permanent residency as well. So public health is available with Torrance, Deakin, ACU. All these uh, has colleges, universities have the option of the courses. Now the next is the marketing courses, the popular marketing courses. Again, starting with the base level of qualification for marketing, which is Certificate 4 in marketing, to again, Masters of Management with marketing as the specialization or majors. The Certificate 4 or Diploma of Marketing can be accessible through Howard or IET Sydney. Diploma of Social Media Marketing is again an option available with Danford and IET Sydney. Bachelors of Marketing and Communication, Bachelors of Marketing, Bachelor of Business. These courses are accessible through Monash, Torrance, or CSU. So you can look at those universities if you are, in a state where these campuses are there. Then comes the master's level qualification with the marketing as majors. So these options are available with Victoria University, Swinburne, Unimel, with again La Trobe and Monash as well. So most of these courses are available with as I said, the bigger universities, and there could be options accessible after you finish off these courses. What would be your next step? So that's obviously we have talked about. That's the first step when you come down here and you pick any of these courses, and you eventually want to make your career. You want to make sure that your permanent residency also works out with the same occupation without changing, or without obviously working out changing the requirements. Now, these are the popular occupations which are on the front of management or marketing, and these are scattered across the medium to long term scale strategic list, short term scale occupation list, or the regional occupation list. The difference between three will be discussed later, that what are the advantages or disadvantages of having an occupation on a specific list. But if your background comes through to be through any of the qualifications we have discussed, or it is in any other qualification we haven't mentioned, but you are following into the management bracket, or the marketing bracket, then you can consider yourself to apply using these occupations if you are looking to apply for permanent residency. Now, management consultant, one of the lucrative, or I would say attractive occupation, which got added a couple of years before into the occupation list. So eventually, a lot of people who have done, their masters into business administration, or they have done bachelors of business, and they have done management studies as a part of it. Anybody who has done specialization of management study, bachelors and above, they can consider applying in this occupation. uh, towards their permanent residency. Now, the assessing authority for, if you've seen most of the management occupations and marketing occupations is VETSS, or the other one is Institute of Management and Leaders. So these are the two bodies, authorities, which does the assessment for majorly all the management and marketing occupations. And the requirements also, falls in line, pretty much more or less similar for most of the occupations. The only differentiating factor is certain occupations would require only a diploma level qualifications. Other occupations would require a bachelor's level or higher. So management consultant obviously would require you to have a bachelor's or a higher qualification. Again, who is a management consultant? It's an occupation wherein you're working at the strategic level of advising the management in terms of the business strategies. So by the way, it sounds obviously it's a senior profile in the business. So you can't literally have this occupation being assessed for you or work out for you as for the skill assessment. You need to have that 1 year of experience, so which is another requirement. So VETSS, as I mentioned, and IML, these authorities do not really assess you or gives you a positive assessment just merely by studying a course. It needs to be backed up with experience in the same field, which has to be post-qualification experience. Now, we'll get into details of that further, but the occupations to list are, say, management consultant is an occupation. Accommodation and hospitality managers not elsewhere classified. So, the accommodation managers, those who are working into the, hospitality business, and their primary job role is more towards the hospitality and accommodation, wherein, are in managing the accommodation in a hotel. Those sort of positions can apply for this occupation. Cafe or a restaurant manager, a very, very popular occupation for a lot of people, those who really want to consider hospitality as their pathway for permanent residency or for their career. Because I mean, being in Victoria, I can tell you that obviously hospitality has a very, very important role to play here. And having this position, cafe or a restaurant manager, can also even make you or give you a pathway towards permanent residency through means of state nomination here. But a lot of people, those who are working as restaurant managers or cafe managers here, they can consider applying for the skill assessment if they have obtained experience after the qualification. Construction project manager, again, very, very important course for a lot of civil engineering graduates or people who come to study here, bachelor's or master of construction management, because those are the courses which you need to study, in order to seek an assessment into this field. And subsequently, you need to work in the field as well for 1 year to be able to successfully secure a skill assessment. Customer service manager, a very, very important or a profile which again a lot of people end up working into. So customer service is a part of a lot of job profiles, but when it comes to customer service manager, the role which has been asked here or which is described here is more of a role wherein you are working into a call center arrangement or an arrangement wherein you need to define or manage the customer service part as a whole. Excuse me. So the customer service manager role is more of a role which is inclined towards management, wherein the core work which you're taking care of is the services which have been provided to the clients and supervising that position. Facilities manager is again a role which is more towards the facilities of, say, a building manager or somebody who has been, supervising a team wherein the facilities comes into play for an organization. Health and welfare services manager. So specifically, again, it's a specific domain now which is related to health and welfare. If you are working into the, delivering of service and you're managing a team there for health and welfare, that is where you would eventually apply for this role. Hospitality, retail, and service managers. Again, these are specifically roles which fits, again, if you're working as a retail manager or a service manager or a hospitality manager, these sort of roles are able to seek permanent residency through one of the means which I discussed, be it general skill migration or be it employer-sponsored visas, but you still have an option or opportunity to apply by this means with experience. Hotel or motel manager, again, one of the demanded course. I can tell you, I've come across a lot of people who have done their qualification in hospitality, or who are intending to further study, and then they have got a job in a hotel at the level of a manager, or wherein they're aspiring to be a hotel manager. So you obviously can apply with the hospitality qualification, and then seek yourself an assessment in this. Health information manager. Uh, this is more about records or the information management for a health organization. If you're doing that, we've discussed about the like health information manager, or if you've done some there's a specific qualification you could do for this, or eventually if you have done Bachelors of Health Science, and then you've been working into 1 year role as an information manager, or maintaining the records of a health organization, then you can look for this as an option. Uh, Advertising manager. Obviously, this gets assessed through IML. Now, the difference between the two authorities is obviously with the numbers of years of experience that's been asked for. So that's what you would get to know in a future slide, in the slide going forward. But advertising manager is one of the again important position, or I would say an important occupation on the skilled migration list, uh, wherein people who have worked at the senior most level, they could apply, because being a managerial position, this is not a role wherein you can work at an executive level to be able to get your skills assessed. You eventually need to have a qualification which is bachelor's or higher, and then you could also look at experience, or you need to have experience wherein you have managed at the supervisory role itself, reporting directly to the management, and that's what would get you an assessment here for advertising manager. Uh, so the further slides now I'll ask Suman to obviously take from here, and he could obviously discuss on the next few slides before I take it further from him. Over to you, Suman.
Can I start?
Sure.
Yeah. Hi, thank you, Kunal. That was really helpful. So in addition to the other occupations, so I'll just share my screen. Okay, so in addition to the what Kunal discussed, so there are some more occupations you can think of from studying management and marketing courses. So these are the human resource manager, and policy and planning manager, primary health organization manager, which is really demanding right now because of the this health crisis, and also like production manager, public relation manager, sales and marketing manager. This is one of the demanding occupation as well, and supply and distribution manager, market research analyst, procurement manager, and environmental manager, and marketing specialist. So these are the some occupations you can think of in addition to what Kunal discussed before, after studying marketing and management courses. Okay, so once we know about the courses, then in this topic, in this slide, so I'm going to discuss about PR pathways and process. So PR pathways and process can be differentiated between two steps. So first one is general skill migration, and another one is employee sponsor visa. So in the general skill migration, there are I have divided that into the 5 steps. So first step is skill assessment, which will be going that details. And second one is lodging a EOI, collecting the points. So in the general skill migration, there are 3 subclasses. So 189, 491, and 190 visa. So 189 is independent visa, so you don't need help from any state or authority. What is for 190 is you'll be getting the help from the state and getting the 5 points from the state. And for the 491, you will be getting the 15 points from the state. So basically the regional will give you the 15 points for your PR. And step 3 is you have to meet the additional criteria of relevant state. For example, there might be like 6 months of stay, or 1 year of full-time work, or 20 hours, 3 months of work, like that. You have to meet the additional criteria. And after you meet all these 3, then you be invited. And then after the invited, then you lose the visa in general skill migration. So whereas in employee sponsor visa, which is there are also like 3 subclasses. One is 482, 494, and 186 visa. So the difference between general skill migration and employee sponsor visa is skill assessment is not mandatory for all of these visas. It is only mandatory for 186 and 494. So while you collect the points in general skill migration, in the employee sponsor visa, you collect the experience. For example, for the 482 visa, you need to have a 2 years of full-time experience, and whereas for the 494 and 186 visa, you need to have a 3 years of experience. So in the general skill migration, you were meeting the additional criteria, but in the employee sponsor visa, you don't need to meet any additional criteria. You just need to find an employer to sponsor you. And after that, employer has to lodge a standard business sponsor and nominations. Once it is lodged, approved, then you lodge the visa. So like I said before, so first step is skill assessment. So if you have noticed while we discussing about the occupations, there were the VETASYS and IML appearing beside the occupation. So VETASYS and IML, which is the institute, IML is Institute of Managers and Leaders, and VETASYS is the another skill assessment authority which does the skill assessment for the most of the management and marketing courses. For the VETASYS, it requires the relevant qualification and also the 1 year of experience, and also whether you have a relevant qualification or not. Also, if you don't have a relevant qualification, still you can get the skill assessment done, but you need like 3 or 2 years of experience. Same is in IML. Then again, the relevant qualification is needed. If you have relevant qualifications, sometimes 3 years of experience is enough. If you don't have a relevant qualification, then 5 years of experience is needed. So next slide is about the example of a marketing specialist, and my colleague will be taking you through this process.
Hey, thanks, Suman. Okay, so yeah, so pretty much we've discussed about up until the skill assessment part, when different authorities have different requirements in terms of the skill assessment. And Suman did mention about having the relevant qualification or not having a relevant qualification will eventually be making the difference here. So not that every occupation we will be talking about with VETASYS has an option accessible for management, courses or the occupations we discussed. There are few occupations which will accept you to have a non-relevant qualification and that can be substantiated with experience. But not all the occupations would allow you to do that. So, when it comes to a hotel or a hotel manager, a cafe or a restaurant manager, you can obviously have more years of experience, which can substantiate towards meeting the qualification, because qualification is not something which is in your control. So pretty much here the example we would be discussing about would be of marketing specialist. Now this occupation gets assessed through VETASYS itself. And being a VETASYS occupation, the relevant qualification requirement for this is you need to have at least a bachelor's degree qualification or higher. And your specialization or your study must include marketing, advertising, business communication, public relation. So the key here of obviously, which is step one, before we could obviously look at applying any visa, which could be as general skill migration or employer sponsored, we need to make sure that our qualification, which we have studied, is relevant, and that is what would be the passing or crossing the stage one. Now, after that, what we need to have is 1 year of post qualification experience, wherein the duties are of utmost importance as well. So we come across a lot of clients who have inquiries or who inquire us that, okay, we have worked into different roles of marketing, but our duties were more specific towards us, a specific trade of marketing. So I was only looking at digital marketing. I was only looking at, some other specific marketing. So when you're looking at marketing specialist as a role, it basically covers up the entire marketing role. Okay. So it is not just a specific domain of marketing. If you are really looking at, you can apply for this assessment or get it successfully, get a positive skill assessment. But you need to look at if you're covering up the entire bit of your marketing. So if your job basically requires you to look at every part of marketing being looked at, you can apply for this position. You don't really need to be at the position of a manager, because since this position is of a specialist, which could be at the front line as well, you don't really need to be working at or managing team. If you are, then it is absolutely fine, but not necessary for you to have a managerial position in order to apply for it. Now, if you look at the 1 year of experience, And this occupation being also a specialist occupation, there is a leverage again in terms of if your qualification is not to the level of bachelor's degree, but you have a lower level of qualification, which is in marketing, you need 2 years of experience. If you do not have any relevant, then you need 3 years of experience. So the experience has a role to play. And there is one thing which is very, very important again for VETSS. Any experience which you need to demonstrate has to be within the last 5 years. So you cannot have a situation that you've worked 5, 7 years before. You are eventually looking to apply or get a skill assessment based on that experience. Excuse me. You will not be getting the assessment positive as it, because they need to have experience within the last 5 years itself. So with experience of marketing specialist delivering effective marketing programs that will help growth development of organization. So that's an overall marketing programs. Launching marketing campaigns, designing and creating marketing contents. So obviously you are helping it in the entire marketing campaigns, not specific. So again, the role of a marketing specialist, developing and managing all aspects of marketing strategy. So with this example, what it is trying to reflect is that you need to have relevant qualification and highly relevant duties for these authorities to be successfully able to give you a skill assessment. So this is just an example for anyone who is pursuing or looking forward to get assessment based on this occupation. It is also further to give you an idea that if you are basically in any domain and you want to get your assessment done through VETSS, which is one of the authorities, uh, to do the skill assessment for management qualifications and occupations, then you really need to pass through the same set of requirements as a relevant qualification followed by relevant work experience. So now my friend Suman has also discussed about the scale migration, wherein we've discussed about the expression of interest and how the points get calculated. So once we have obtained a successful skill assessment and our intention is to apply for a general skill migration visa, the next best or the next step we need to take is obviously making sure is to calculate our points. Now, anyone who is in Australia would eventually understand right now, and if they're intending to apply for this visa or they have applied for it, that higher the points, more the probability is the case in most of the states or even for the skill independent visa. So what basically gives you points is what we have defined here. So if your age is anything between 18 to 24, you get 25 points towards your age. The minimum eligibility we have mentioned before anyways is 65. That's what you have to have as a minimum score to be eligible to apply. The highest points are given between the age of 25 to 32. So up until you turn 33 or from the day one of you turning 25, you've got 30 points for your age. From 33 to 39, it's 25 points again, and the least is from 40 to 44. Excuse me. That is 15 points. Now, that's for the age. So see, the most probable highest points would be awarded to anyone who is between 25 to 32. So that's the right age or the sort of applicants Australian migration is looking at to apply here. With respect to English language, again, you get points only. So you can apply with competent English, which is 6 each. That's the minimum requirement to apply for any scale migration. But you need to get points, then you need to look at either proficient English or superior English, which is 7 each or 8 each. And subsequently, you get 10 points for 7 each or 65 each equivalent in PT, or 8 each or 79 each equivalent in PT for 20 points. Skilled employment. Now, a lot of clients who have applied VETSS assessment would not have understanding or clarity on the points of how to claim skilled employment. So I would definitely recommend you to guys, to take our advice on that or seek our guidance in terms of how can you basically claim your maximum points when it comes to skill employment, because this is one of the aspects which is very, very important and helpful in terms of increasing your points. So not that you would have a situation wherein you have obtained some experience overseas as well as here. Although VETSS only consider experience within the last 5 years, does not mean that you can't use the experience prior to that. You can always combine together, but your experience in the last 5 years must have been there to get a positive assessment. So again, it's a very elaborative point wherein I can't give you all the information, but yes, this has an important role to play with the scale migration. So definitely, if you are claiming points for any experience between 1 to 3 years from in Australia, you get 5 points for that. 3 to 5 years, 10 points for that, and so on. 5 to 8 years, 15, and 8 to 10 years, 20 points. And the points which are given to you for any experience obtained outside is anything between 3 to 5 years. So if I have got 1 year of experience in Australia, I can still claim that experience for points, 5 points. But if I have the same amount of experience overseas, I'm not going to get any points for that because the minimum is 3 years. Next is education. If obviously I have studied doctorate qualification, the least I get is 20 points for that. Again, there would be additional points for Australian study, which we mentioned below. Bachelors or masters, it is 15 points, and diploma is 10 points. So obviously, higher the qualification, more the benefits of points. Then, if you have done Australian study or you have done study in Australia, you get 5 additional points for that. And if you have done a doctorate degree or master's by research, there would be additional 10 points for that. Uh, NATI, professional year, and regional study each gets you additional points. So this 5 points is not all together. This is each of that has the possibility of if you do NATI, if you do professional year, if your field is in one of the professional year fields, or if you end up studying in regional, you get 5 additional points. Uh, Partner or being single give you 10 points. So if you obviously, unlike 2 years before when you were eventually single, there were no benefits. Now, if you are a single applicant, you get 10 points for that on your expression of interest. If you have a partner who have got competent English, which is 6 each, equivalent, they will get give you 5 points on your EY. And if you have a partner who has a skill uh, of the same nature, which is on the occupation list as yours, and who've got competent English as well. They also have got your 10 points being given to you. So, earlier it used to be only the skilled partner gets you 10 points, but not as a single applicant. But now you have obviously options for both. One of the most important slides, for this presentation as such, because a lot of people right now are aware that skilled independent visas are not, being given up very easily. The number of invitations over the last 2 years have slowed down, and there have not been many invitations. So majorly the focus has been towards state nominations and its additional requirements. Now, this is basically obviously stage three, which you need to work towards after you have obtained a positive skill assessment, after you have realized you've got enough points on your EOI. Then comes the objective of which state I would be able to get myself nominated from, and whether the requirements of that state is something I am able to meet or not. So we'll be discussing about different states here, and we'll let you know what each state has to offer. And if you see you can meet the requirements of those state nomination, in my advice, that is one of the most important thing you should start working towards if you have an intention. And consider at any point, there is no state which is intending or interested to invite applicants from other states. Their first priority is for the people who are within the state, those who have studied in the state, those who have worked in the state, and they are the ones who get the preference over the other applicants. But yeah, with an exception to few states, which is still giving nominations to applicants from overseas with their set of requirements. So we'll start with the New South Wales. That's one of the, again, a big state with a lot of seats in this financial year. And every year they get a lot of seats because the major portion of migration basically is concentrated between bigger states such as Victoria, New South Wales itself. So for New South Wales, 190, which is a state nomination visa. Again, as I said, you have got a skill assessment with yourself. You have got 65 points with yourself. What next? So for onshore applicants, if you are willing to apply for 190, which is a state nomination and it's a permanent residency, uh, you need to be currently residing in New South Wales and have lived in New South Wales for 3 months or employed in your nominated occupation for 20 hours a week. So example, if I have just relocated in New South Wales now, and I am working in my nominated occupation, I need not have to wait for 3 months before I can apply. So I can apply straight. Uh, December 2nd, last week, or the third week of December, what New South Wales did was they have added experience requirements to a lot of occupations, and they have also opened up for offshore applicants, those who can apply. So for offshore people who have got, have resided continuously offshore for the past 3 months, and occupation is open for the offshore. So they have already got their list of occupations wherein they have opened for offshore or onshore applicants. And if your occupation is open, then you can apply for the as an offshore applicant as well to the state. So meet the 3 years of work experience requirements, which is not a requirement for all the occupations. This is a requirement only for a few specific, say for example, a lot of IT occupations are part of it. Few engineering occupations are a part of it. But any other occupation which is there on their list, and if you have not, there is no requirement for 3 years of experience for you to meet, you can eventually be there and then can apply for 190. I've just mentioned before as well that higher the points, more the probability. So with bigger states such as Victoria, New South Wales, there is always very tough competition. So you need to make sure that you are at the highest points level, whatever you can obtain using a skill. Now, for 491 with New South Wales, you've got 3 streams, and each stream has its own set of requirements. So as a stream 1 applicant, you can only apply using that stream if you are living and working in region New South Wales. Obviously, the minimum is 3 months, but you can apply having 3 months of experience, but they prefer the applicants who have got 1 year or more experience. But a lot of applicants with some occupations which are highly demanded in New South Wales, they have been invited to 3 months as well. Stream through if you have completed your 2 year study in regional New South Wales and have skill assessment from that study. So if you have got that, then you can apply for using that as well. And then stream 3, if you have got your assessment, your points, and your occupation is on the regional New South Wales stream 3 list. So having an occupation on the list is definitely an advantage for a lot of stream 3 applicants. Now, again, the priority on this stream 3 works accordingly if anyone who is in New South Wales working in their nominated occupation, not working for the past 3 months, but still being there. Then somebody who has obviously got a job, in their state, somebody who is residing in New South Wales, somebody who has got high points, all those factors are going to play a role here as well. So that's about New South Wales. A lot of invites are yet to be given from the state, because obviously they have a tendency of giving invitations towards the end of the year. So we may get a lot of invites coming from this state. Next is Victoria. Again, for 190, the requirements are you need to be living and working in Victoria. So only the applicants who are in Victoria can apply for the Victorian state nomination. The global talent visa, which is one of the visa options for a lot of management people or marketing people. There is always an option. What Victoria has done was they have aligned their skills requirement along with that as well, and they have come up with a specific rule or a requirement that one needs to be work in the Victorian target sector in order to be eligible to apply for the state nomination. So that those target sectors have obviously been growing from where it started to what it was before to what it is now. The number of target sectors have obviously gone up. And now the target sectors, obviously, other than health, medical research, life sciences, you've got digital sector, agriculture, food production, advanced manufacturing, new energy, emission reduction, circular economy, as well as creative industries. So you need to basically have a skill which is not obviously of these sectors, but obviously you need to have a skill among these skills which you have seen, as a part of the migration list. And you need to demonstrate that how your work is contributing directly to these target sectors. Um, Likewise, nurses, IT applicants, and a lot of other occupations who have been able to demonstrate their contribution directly towards some sectors. They have been able to get an invite. And health information managers or anyone who has been related to the medical fields, again, has been able to successfully obtain invites as well. So it completely depends on which sector or target sector you are working in, and you can show your contribution towards. The beauty of 190 with Victoria is you do not have to be specifically working for any period of time. Even if you get a job yesterday, even if it's part-time or a casual position, you can still apply for that. You don't need to have a full-time job. Then comes the requirements for 491. So the requirements for 190 and 491 in Victoria are more or less similar. The only difference is if I want to apply for 491, you need to be living and working in regional Victoria. Instead, in 190, you can work anywhere in Victoria. And again, you need to be able to demonstrate that you are contributing to one of the Victorian target sectors by working in that sector, and that would make you eligible to apply for 491. So 190, when you apply, you get 5 additional points for the state nomination, and when you put a 491 application, you get 15 additional points. So that is something which is additionally over and above your own points, which you would accumulate based on the previous slide we've discussed. Then next comes the Australian Capital Territory, or we call it Canberra, wherein the requirements for 190 are if you have lived in Canberra for 6 months, you have worked for 35 hours per week continuously for 26 weeks, then you can apply for the 190. Now, again, it's higher the points. So they do require you to have 65 points only as a part of your EOI. At the same time, you need to have higher points in the Canberra metrics. So they have a specific metrics in which you get points for whatever you do there, additionally for whatever studies you have done or whatever English language proficiency you have. All that gets counted, but they prefer you to study in their state, work in their state, or have a partner if you have one to work in the fields or the priority sectors or the critical sectors in the state itself. So these are the requirements for 6 months. So you do not have to be working in your own field, but if you find skilled work in there, that adds up towards your matrix score. So higher the matrix score, again, better the probability of getting the nomination approved. On the other hand, for 491, all you need is just 3 months of experience in Canberra. 3 months of residency and 3 months of experience, which is 20 hours per week. And again, you need to apply for Canberra matrix. The Canberra has just opened up for the offshore applicants as well for both 190 and 491. And the requirements are pretty straightforward that you need to have a job offer if you need to apply for 190. And for 491, you need to have your occupation on the list, and you need to show that you've got 3 years of full-time post graduation work experience. So you can apply for 491 there as well. Now, these states obviously are still they're continuously inviting applicants. So if you see you have got those skills which can meet a fit in anywhere, then you can consider applying there. I'll let Suman to take from here, and he can explain you for the rest of the states now.
Thank you, Kunal. Can you guys see the screen?
Yes, Suman, we can now.
Okay. Thank you, Kunal. Okay. So WA is Western Australia. It also has a 190 and 491 both list. Okay. So basically, for the Western Australia, for 190 and 491, they have a 3 different lists. So schedule 1, schedule 2, and 1 is for graduate list. So those occupations which falls in the schedule 1 list for the 190, so you should have claimed the 5 points from the employment, and also they also need for the full-time employment contract for another 1 year. And those occupations which falls on the schedule 2 list, so you just need a 1 year full-time contract for 1 year. And for the graduate list, so you should be working, you should be studying a 2-year study in Western Australia, and you need a further 6 months of work or employment contract. So basically, Western Australia for 190 and 491, the basically criteria is still the same. It's just like you have to choose one occupation or one stream to apply for. Okay, and also for NT, which is the Northern Territory and commonly known as Darwin as well. So it has a two stream for Northern graduates and also for other residents. So for the graduates, those who have finished 2 years of study in NT and have lived 6 months after the study on full-time work right. So just make sure that you have a full-time work right after you finish the study and have demonstrated genuine efforts to get employment, then you will be eligible for 190 for those who finish the study in NT. And for other residents, let's say if you have finished your study in some other state and you want to move to NT, then you make sure you stay there for 2 years, and you have a 2-year full-time employment in your occupation. Likewise for the 491, so 491 also have a graduate list. So you study there for 2 years, and if you can't stay in NT for another 6 months after finishing your study, or you don't have a full-time work, right? For example, you finish your 485 and then you are you are going back to the student visa again, then that time you will be eligible for 491 only. And for other NT residents, so those applicants who moved to NT before 1st of July 2020, 6 months of residence and 6 months of full-time in their occupation is required. And for other living in NT after the 1st of July 2020, 12 months of residence in NT and 6 months of full-time employment in non-use occupation is required. Next slide, please. Okay, this is South Australia. South Australia has a three different stream under the 190 and 491. So it also offers you a graduate pathway. For the pathway, so you have to study at least 46 weeks crack course register course and finish your 50% of study in South Australia itself, and you stay in South Australia for at least 1 year. Okay, so benefit of this South Australia is, for example, if you are currently studying any other state, then you can actually transfer your course to the South Australia Institute and then finish your rest of the 50% in South Australia itself. Then you will be eligible under the South Australia graduate pathway. And you also need to be meeting the minimum requirements of qualification. For example, your skill occupation list needs a bachelor degree, then you must be finishing your bachelor degree itself in the South Australia. And you must be currently working in nominated occupation or currently closely related occupation as specified in the list. So South Australia have a different list, and all the occupation have a different requirements. So depending upon which occupations your target is, there might be different requirement for that. And there is also another pathway which is currently working pathway is specified in the occupation list. So need employment either in Greater Adelaide or outside of regional South Australia. So it can be anything like 6 months or 12 months of that. There is also another pathway called Talent and Inverters pathway. So only high-performing graduates as specified in the list will be eligible, and there is also independent talent stream as specified in the list will be eligible. So those performing, for example, getting the GPA 5 or 6, more than that, getting the English superior English, they will be eligible for 190 or 491. Okay, so QLD, which is the Queensland. So Queensland also has a two different pathway. One is skilled workers in Queensland, another one is graduates of Queensland. So for 190, you should be able to score at least 80 points in UI, have a English proficiency, and also 6 months of full-time employment for 190. And for the 491, you should have at least score 65 points in UI, have a proficient English, and 3 months of full-time of employment. And for the 491, you must have lived and working within the specified postcode. So in the Queensland, there are certain postcode, so you need to be living in that postcode to apply the 491. So graduates of Queensland, so PhD graduates will be eligible for 490 and 190 depending on your occupation. And for the 491, so only the master's and bachelor's degree graduates will be eligible for 491 only, and you also need an additional 3 months of employment for the QLD 491. Like again, the Tasmania also have a two different pathway for 190, which is Tasmanian graduate pathway and working in Tasmanian pathway. So for 190, if you complete your study 92 weeks of course and have lived there for 2 years, then you will be eligible for Tasmanian graduate pathway 190. And there is also the working in Tasmania pathway. So your occupation has to be on TSOL list, and you just need to work 6 months of full-time job. For the 491, there are like Tasmanian graduate requirements, working in Tasmania, family in Tasmania, and small business owner. So under the Tasmanian graduate requirement, so if you complete 40 weeks of course requirement and have lived there for one year, then you will be eligible for 491. So beauty of this is you don't have to be studying any specific course, but they do give a priority to health, trades, and hospitality education. working in Tasmania. So if you work full-time in implement 𝐬𝐨𝐧 level 1 to 3 or 3 months of implement TESOL, then you will be offered a 491 Tasmania, 491 Tasmania. There is also another stream called family in Tasmania. So if you have a direct family members who are PR or citizen and are currently residing in Tasmania for at least 12 months, then you will be eligible for 491 in Tasmania. So small business owner also available in Tasmania. So for that, your business should be operated for 6 months, and you should demonstrate that your business is capable of giving a personal income of at least $50,900 for another 3 years. So after knowing all the state criteria, so my colleague will be going through all the occupations like where they are available.
Thanks, Suman. Okay, so so the popular occupations and the availability. So obviously we have the intention of giving you information around specific management and marketing occupations and which states have got the availability for them. So pretty much, if you are picking up any of the occupations from the list and then you see, you want to pick up from those occupations and you're in any of these states, or you're intending to move to these states because you want to continue with your occupation, or you want to continue applying with these occupations itself, then as of now, these are the states which has options available for these mentioned occupations. Bear in mind, this is something which does get changed frequently. If an occupation is available on a specific state list, it might can go off anytime without any further information or notice. So you need to plan things, wisely, in understanding that it's not going to be 100% guaranteed that if you intend to move to those states, they will have that option available for you. Or eventually, you can obviously have those occupations rather which are more easily accessible in most of the states, and there are peer options available. So starting with management consultant, obviously it's available on the schedule to list of WA, means no other state has that as an option for now. So if you're looking to apply for state nomination, the only option you have is Western Australia. And with Schedule 2, you need to get an employment contract for yourself there, have obviously got good points to be eligible to apply. And so that the 12 months employment contract is what you need. You need to be in WA to be able to apply, because lately they have been only inviting applicants who are residing there. Hospitality and accommodation and hospitality managers in NEC is not available anywhere in for state nomination for now. Cafe or restaurant managers, again, we've got options available in 3 states. So we've got option for 190 with 3 years of experience. We've got an option for 491 in New South Wales. So an option in New South Wales for both the streams. Again, the option is there in WA as well, which is in Schedule 2 as well as the graduate list. So a good opportunity, I would say, this is one of the, I've mentioned before as well, this is one of the most demanded occupations. And for a lot of people who come from the same background, it really benefits if they have permanent residency options, in the States. It is an option on the Tasmanian state occupation list. So if you end up working for 6 months, in full time in Tasmania, that also gives you an option of applying 190 there as well. Construction project manager, again, an occupation available on both 190 and 491 for New South Wales. And there is no such requirement for experience as well there for 190. So pretty much if you're in any other state, you want to relocate to New South Wales, find a job, there are good chances that you can get 190. Or if you're fitting anywhere into the stream 1, 2, or 3 of 491, you can apply as well. Again, for WA, it's available on Schedule 2 list as well as the graduate list. So the good option. Customer service manager, not there, but this was an occupation there on the the list for Northern Territory. So pretty much with meeting all the requirements, if you're a graduate from there, or if you end up finding a job in your field, there could be a possibility in near future if that occupation gets added up there again. Facilities manager, not an option available. Again, these sort of occupations might be you can see those occupations available in smaller states for sure. As I said, Northern Territory was one of the states which might have the option available, but for now it's not the case. Health and welfare services managers, that's available again for 190 in New South Wales, no experience required, and also available for offshore applicants, and it's also available for 491. Hospitality, retail, and service managers, not there. Hotel or motor manager again is available with WA as well as Tasmania. Human resource manager, it's available in New South Wales for 491, and on the graduate list for WA. So again, an option there for with two states. Policy and planning manager, which is not available anywhere. Can we get to the next slide? Yep. Suman, you want to cover up this one?
Yes, sure. Okay, so another one popular occupation is a primary health organization manager. So you can see like NSW, experience is needed, and it is also offered for offshore, and 491 also possible. Okay, so good thing about is under the in the Victoria, it may be eligible under the health stream. If you are manager of any health facility, then you might be offer a 190 or 491. It is also available in South Australia, and in Tasmania it is in 𝐬𝐸𝐬𝐢𝐵 and Queensland also. So in Tasmania, so if you work as a 6 months of full-time then you will be offered a 190. Production manager. So production manager looks very popular. So it is available in almost all the states. So for the 190, no experience needed, and available for offshore, and it is also available for 190 as well. And in ACT also it is available, and South Australia, Northern Territory, Western Australia on a schedule 2 just need a 1 year of full-time contract. In TSOL just need a 6 months of full-time experience, and Queensland again 6 months of full-time experience for 190 and 3 months of full-time experience for 491. Public relation managers in ACT is available for 491 only. South Australia is available, and also available in Queensland. Sales and marketing managers available in ACT, South Australia, Northern Territory, Western Australia graduate list. So after the graduate list, if you can show you have a 1 year of contract, then you will be eligible for 190 or 491. And Queensland again 6 months of employment for 190 and 3 months of employment full time for 491. So marketing research analyst is another occupations available for 491 in ACT only, available in South Australia and Queensland. And another one is marketing specialist, which our colleague Kunal gave an example before. So which is available in 491 in NSW only, available in ACT, South Australia, Northern Territory, and Queensland. Okay, so we talk about the all the popular occupations, the courses and the specific courses and additional criteria about the state. So the main message from us is the PR is permanent residence from PR is possible from the marketing and management courses. So if you have to, all you have to do is get the points and meet the additional criteria, and then there is a PR invite for you. So I think we are at the end of it. So I think we can take the questions and answers.
I think we've got San who has asked a question.
Yeah, so she's asking, do we need to have work experience to land a good package in a job course?
Do we need to work experience to land a good job package? I think it's Antariksha who's asked this question. Antariksha, look, the requirement of experience works out depending on your skills, right? I can't tell you how much the package has a role to play here, but with the migration perspective, as far as you are working in the role and getting the minimum wage rate as per the frameworks, that works for you. But to get the breakthrough with any jobs, ideally you need to understand the skills which are behind it, and obviously able to demonstrate them effectively when you're working even in or you're being a part of any internships as well. We have seen a lot of people who have been interns, they have been successfully able to get jobs as well in the streams. But work experience being as a requirement is never the criteria for somebody to get a good package. So if you're coming up with some experience, ideally finding firstly jobs for you would be very easy if the experience has been relevant. But after the job, if you after this course, if you finish a course and then you look out for a job, start looking. If you don't get a job, start looking for some internships, and that could pave you pathway towards getting a good job for yourself. And again, as I said, I can't really comment on the package part, but yes, it's always the case. More the experience and you get more the chances of getting a good salary. That's all I can say. I think we have missed the question from San, which is what are the opportunities after completing diploma in leadership and management? Does this degree help in getting residency? If not, which marketing or management degree does with no experience? San, in my opinion, I don't see just the diploma of leadership and management by itself will help you to, get a skill assessment. So eventually, the one of the prerequisites to apply for a skilled visa is to have a skill assessment with yourself. And for any sort of management or, as we discussed, marketing courses are being assessed through authorities, which requires definitely you to have experience, which is post qualification. So which marketing or management degree with no experience will work? I can't really say that that's going to be even a possibility, because even if you're working as a sales or marketing manager or a marketing specialist, both these occupations require experience. And with management, whatever occupations we have discussed, all of that requires experience. So I don't think so. There is an option of applying skill migration as such without experience, if that needs to be assessed through VET or even IML. So next we've got Mo Petra. What's the usual response time once the ROI has been submitted for talent and innovator in South Australia for marketing specialist? See, the usual processing for most of the states, Mo Petra, is 12 weeks. I've come across cases wherein this has been picked up, quickly as well, wherein the invitation was being given, say, within a month. But yeah, I mean, the usual response time, what you need to wait for is obviously, 12 weeks for getting any sort of response from the site.
So that's
So I'm going to take the next question, Pradeep Singh.
Yeah, Pradeep.
So
So he's asking, my wife is planning to go for Masters in Project Management as an international student. During that time, can I be apply for a job as a husband? And if yes, can yes, then post that husband can apply for the PR. So if she is studying, he will be a dependent. That's what he wants to ask. And then will he be eligible for the PR pathway? So here it comes. I think Pradeep is already in Melbourne or in Australia, and he has also studied.
So Pradeep, your question hasn't come very clearly, to be honest. If obviously you have got some qualification and you will get experience in that field, what field is that? If the question is, can you apply for a job? Now, obviously, if your wife is studying masters, you've got work rights with yourself, so you can apply for a job. That's answered. If yes, then post that, can husband apply for PR? You need to get a skill for yourself. So anytime when you're looking to apply permanent residency, you need to look at whether your skill is on the list. So whether we are talking about skilled migration or employer sponsored visas, or we need to look at a skill which is on the list. If yes, either of you have got a skill assessment or skills on the list, you may can apply for permanent residency and can pick one of the options. Sama, I have 1 year of experience relevant in marketing field. Would there be any benefits if I work for an additional year and then study? Uh, Sama, so if you obviously have got experience which is post qualification, then you could look for, I don't know whether you've got an assessment or not, and which state you are in. So if you do have a skill assessment, then definitely look out for the states we have mentioned, which has an option of marketing specialist in their list. If you don't have a relevant qualification, definitely you need to, move up your experience uh, and, take it up to 3 years to be eligible to apply, because without a relevant qualification, that's the sort of experience you would be looking at. Then only you could consider applying in the field of marketing then. Or if you want to obviously obtain a qualification alongside, then definitely still post-qualification experience would then be counted then.
Okay, I'll take another question. San, what's going on what's ongoing points requirement in management sector to be eligible for residency. So right now, what is happening is getting the points is only not the criteria. So you need to make additional criteria that we discussed before. So anyone, for example, anyone who have like let's say 100 points and but they are not meeting the additional criteria, then they won't be getting invitation. But if anyone who has a less points and but they meeting the criteria, then they will get the invitation. As of now in NSW, so 90, 85, 90 is the cutoff points for the management sector.
So I think we don't have much questions over here. And
State, you've been muted actually.
I'm so sorry. I think we don't have much questions here now. Thank you, Kunal and Suman again.
Thanks.
Again, mute.
Again, mute Husneet. I'm so sorry. I think it's fine now.
Yep.
Really thank you to Kunal and Suman for giving us such a good briefing. And I don't see more questions over here now for today. We have almost replied to everyone.
So people can get in touch with us in case if they have any questions, guys. I am based out of Melbourne. Suman is based out of Sydney. If you have any more questions, we have got branches across most of the states. So feel free to put in your questions to one of our branches. If you are willing to get to study or to obviously look at options towards migration on any of these pathways, feel free to get in touch with any of our branches.
Thank you. So you can reach me at suman.kc@aussizgroup.com, or you can contact us in our telephone at 202-9152-8585.
Thank you.
Awesome. Yeah, and please don't forget to leave the feedback, guys. Important for you guys to get a chance to win yourself as well.
Yeah, so now we have to hand over the session to the new person. I think the upcoming session is for the accounting and HR courses. Still, we can answer any question if somebody wants to ask any question over here. We are happy to answer. I don't think so. I think the next meeting is about to start in 2-3 minutes. So Kunal, yes, I will be waiting for the other peoples to join. I know you're busy. You can just leave now. And Suman, you too. Thank you so much. Really appreciated your efforts. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Kunal.
Thank you, Suman. Thank you, Kunal.